Well, if the thumbnail and the hat weren't enough indication, we're talking about the Lady Cats, the Kansas State women's basketball team. Partially because I don't really want to talk about the men, and partially because I think there's a big storyline here with the women that's kind of been building up for the past year. It should have been seen coming for a while now because everyone knows what class people are, so people should have known about this. But I want to talk about today, and it's about the seniors. Senior Day happened on Saturday after the KU game. And for those who might not have known, Kansas State's women's roster has 7 seniors on it, which sounds like a lot. And it sounds really bad when 2 of the best players in Kansas State basketball history are a part of that senior class. But fear not, I have good news, and hopefully it puts your mind at ease. And hopefully, if you're not following the Lady Cats already, this is your indication to start doing it. I'm going to get you on some type stuff because this is fun basketball to watch. And it's going to be, first of all, first part, the 7 seniors, some of whom are departing and some who are not. So the first 2, the big headliners here are center Aoka Lee and guard Serena Sundell. Aoka Lee's obviously the big one. So she's been at K-State for 7 years. One of them, her first year here, she didn't even play because of an injury. The 22 through 23 season, when Gabby Gregory first joined the squad, she also did not play because of surgery, season-ending surgery before the season even began. And then she redshirt. She got I believe she got a medical redshirt from last season because she didn't play for an entire month. And so, yeah, now here we are. This is officially her last season. So there's so much to talk about with Lee, and we're going to talk more about it later. Obviously, it's the biggest headliner because K-State runs through her both on offense and defense, and it's obviously going to hurt not having her on the squad. A lot of K-State's identity is with her. Sundell, I think, has, because of Aoka Lee, has gone not, thrown to the wayside or anything, because people definitely respect her game, as they should, but I think people don't realize how huge she is on the roster. She just beat the K-State single game assist record. She is so consistent. She is always great. She has a great vision of the field. I believe that Terrence Side's game has probably improved a lot because of her closeness with Serena Sundell. She's a fantastic point guard. She's exactly what you would want from her. She can drive to the basket. She has maybe the most butter smooth jump shot I've ever seen. It's incredible. And when it's on, it's on. And if you guys saw the TCU game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When it's on, and it's incredible. It's beautiful to watch. It's just a piece of work. It's art in motion. And I think people are kind of overlooking how big she has been on this Kansas State roster, especially in the past 2 years. She's an incredible player, and she brings a lot to this team that is going to be hard to replace. Third one I want to talk about is Jalen Glenn. Glenn, one of the Glenn twins. She and her sister have been very consistent production. They've gone so much better every single year. Jalen has made leaps in her game. I think she's a defensive. I've been saying this last year that she is a very good defensive player. And now I think she is an incredible offensive player. And I think she's another one that's going to be missed dearly. And she gets a lot of unsung, not unsung praise, because that doesn't make sense. But she's an unsung hero. That's what I'm trying to say. She's an unsung hero because she does a lot of the dirty work. And she's a great shooter. And again, I think it just gets overlooked a lot. And I need to give a shout out to her. And she's going to be another senior that is going to be sorely missed. The fourth one is Tamira Poindexter. I say the fourth one, even though there are 7 of them. Again, we'll get into it in a minute. The fourth one that's definitely cannot come back again next year is Tamira Poindexter. So Tamira is a very interesting player to me. She came from Tulsa, and I didn't know, how good she was. And then she came to K-State, and she started balling out, and I was like, holy cow, she's very good. I'm very impressed. And I think the strangest thing to me is every time I see her play, I'm like, that is a guard. She looks like a guard. In my opinion, she plays like a guard. And that's a testament to how good she is. It's not like a dig or anything. That is because she is just so good at shooting the ball. She's so good from 3. I feel this way about nearly every player, but when Tamira's on the 3-point line, I don't like doubt it for a second. I'm like, yeah, that's like, even if it doesn't go in, I'm like, yeah, I have faith that that's going to go in, like she's just such a good, confident player. She's a strong player. Like, it's great that she came here for her last year because she's brought a lot of value to this Kansas State team that I don't think anyone else on the squad could really fill her void because she's such a versatile forward. So the reason I said the fourth one, because there is a bit of there's a bit of a gap in between 4 and 5, and not like a skill gap or a skill issue or anything. It's a status gap because these other 3 seniors could come back next year. So one of these 3 of the 5, 6, and 7 is Gisela Sanchez. And if you don't know, she went through the senior day activities, but my understanding is, and she's listed as a junior on the roster, and according to Brad, who's a guy who kind of covers high school girls hoops and the Cats, shout outs to him. According to him, she has already confirmed that she will be coming back again next year, and that she was just going through the activities because it was her mother's first time coming into the States and watching her in a Kansas State uniform. Again, that's according to my man Brad. If he's wrong, I'm wrong. I apologize about that. But that's as far as I know, that's the dealio. So she'll be coming back. So now you're still only missing 4. So what about 6 and 7? 6 and 7, one of them is Briley. So Briley has not played a game this year. I think she did play in the Washburn exhibition, but that's it. She redshirted this year. According to my boy Landon, shout out to Landon. She just had some talks with Mitty and decided to redshirt. It was not injury related at all. So to me, it wouldn't make sense for her to redshirt if she wasn't planning on coming back for another year. Now, of course, minds can change. I'm hopeful that she'll end up coming back another year, which would be great. 7th person is Kennedy Taylor. Also, this is a really quick side tangent. Kennedy Taylor's brother, Ethan Taylor, class of 2026, center, 6'10", 4-star. Shout out to Joe for this find. Keep the family ties in Manhattan. Honestly, great part about K-State is the family ties. I love them. So I'm not saying, this is not financial or recruiting advice. I'd probably reach out to the guy. That's all I'm going to say. Kennedy Taylor, though, she's played for 4 years. She played at Missouri State for 3 seasons. She played Colorado her first season. Her first season at Colorado, though, she only played 8 games. So there is a chance she could appeal that and get a red shirt for it, and the Cats could keep her another year. I think Kennedy's probably the most interesting one of these 3 to talk about. Obviously, Briley's very good, and her coming back next year would be great. From a leadership perspective, if nothing else, and she's also a great player, obviously. And Sanchez coming back would be great too, because I think Sanchez has a lot of versatility to her game. She can also shoot the 3 ball really well, and I think her coming back would be great. Again, even not from the ball perspective, but just a leadership perspective. Also, there's no reason Sanchez would be good to come back because of the freshman class, but we'll get into that in a second. But Kennedy Taylor, I think, is the most interesting because I see Kennedy Taylor as like not a replacement for Lee, but I feel like it might be the closest K-State gets. Obviously, you cannot replace Lee. You just cannot. She is a one-of-a-kind player. She will go down in the Kansas State history books. Her name will go up in the rafters, and she's literally the best. You can see it on the court. The team plays differently when she's on the court and when she's off the court. It's like completely different game. My understanding with bringing Kennedy Taylor in at the beginning of the season, and I went over this in one of my other videos, I'll put it up in whichever corner it shows up in, was, in case something happened to Lee, that, Kennedy Taylor could step up and, do some of the things she does. So Kennedy Taylor, I think she's a good ball player, but I think she has some developing that, could be used. And she's a great ball player, but I see a lot of potential for her. And I think if she's stuck with the Cats another year and she worked with Mitty and the staff and the team and gelled with them and she became the centerpiece of the team, I think we could see leaps and bounds in her game, because I really do see the potential with her. I think she just needs a little bit more development, but I see huge upsides with her game. She's so close, But I think part of it too could be the fact that Lee is, what they're used to. And, no one can be Lee. That's not a dig at Kennedy or anyone else in the world who plays women's basketball, because no one's going to be Lee. It's just not possible. So in my opinion, I think I really would like Taylor to come back another year, stick around and, build the offense around her and see what happens. So moving on from the 7 that are leaving, let's not 7 that are leaving, just 7 seniors. Let's move on to the next one. So first of all, let's talk about the current team members and how they're going to fill this void. So obviously the first one I see is Terrence Sides stepping up for Serena Sundell. I mean, I don't really see how else it's going to go down. Sides has an incredible vision of the court. She's dominant from the 3-point line. She has a great she can literally shoot from here. I don't think Terrence Sides has seen a single bad shot, ever. She just does, and she makes them so consistently. It's crazy. The KU game, there was a buzzer beater at the halftime. It was just 1 second on the clock. She couldn't even get into shooting form, and she just threw it up, and I'm just yeah, that's going in. And sure enough, it went in. She's just such a scrappy player. She has so much energy. She's a spark off the bench right now, which I hope that she wins sixth player of the year for the Big 12, because I think she's nominated for it. And she 100% deserves it because she's just such an incredible player. She doesn't have the height necessarily, but that has definitely not stopped her. She is super aggressive. She's not afraid to go for steals or blocks. I don't see it being any other way. I think she's ready to take the reins of this team going forward, and I think she'll be playing in the 1 hole. And also something to note, even though she is 6th player off the bench, she has gone a ton of minutes in the past 10-12 games. So she's physically ready for it as well. So I don't see it going any other way other than Terrence Sides taking over for Serena Sundell's position. So the next thing is replacing Aoka Lee, and we kind of already talked about Kennedy Taylor could step into that role, but there's also quite a few players on K-State roster who you might not know about and who might just be not getting the minutes right now that could also take a bulk of Lee's workload. And Sanchez is another one of them as well, which we already talked about. Sanchez, I see a lot of upside potential for her. Although I see Sanchez more as a shooting forward rather than a center. Eliza Maupin, I think she took a bulk of Lee's minutes when she was gone that 22-23 year. She also, that year, and she also did it when she was injured during the 23-24 season. I see huge upsides with her. I like her game a lot. She doesn't have the height Lee has or the bulk Lee has, but I think that she could definitely step up in the role and take more of her minutes. Imani Lester is another one. Imani Lester is the next tallest person on the team at 6'4". Imani, I see a lot of potential in her. I think she could still use some more development. I think she's kind of being pushed into the role right now because, K-State wants to develop her and give her more minutes and develop her in real-time scenarios. And I hope that she keeps developing, but I think she does have some more development work to get in that she could definitely learn under the other ones. She's only a sophomore, so she got a lot of time to grow and learn under the other forwards. So, but I want to give a shout out to her as well because she could also take over the role. Alexis Hess, she hasn't seen the floor at all because she redshirted this year, but she's a freshman. She could also see some minutes these next up and coming years. We'll have to see. I'm not really familiar with her game right now just because I haven't seen it at all. But that's a name to look for in the next up and coming year. Now for taking over for Poindexter, this is where I more see Sanchez taking on Poindexter's role because again, Sanchez can shoot the 3 ball really well. She's a great shooter. She can also play in the paint. She's not bad at driving. I really like Sanchez's game. I really hope that she breaks out next year and gets some more time on the floor because I really like seeing her out there. She played really well in the Sunflower Showdown. If you didn't see, she was just knocking down bucket after bucket. It was great. Her mom needs to come to more games. We need to see that game more often because when she's on, it's really fun to watch her. She seems like a very confident player when she's on. So the last one is Jalen. Jalen's departing. Obviously, the first thought is Briley Glenn, who not better to take over her role than her twin sister. And you also have Michaela Parks, who redshirted, so she hasn't seen the floor yet. There's also a freshman who has not seen, I don't know if she's seen any minutes at all. I haven't seen her on the floor once this season, but Finley Onstad, I again apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. She hasn't seen the floor at all this season, to my knowledge. I haven't seen her play at all. She's a freshman though, so it makes sense. She has some good height, 6'1". So, I think they'll get a good rotation for Jalen. And again, if Briley does end up sticking around for one more year, I think Briley will probably be the main one taking up the bulk of her minutes. So there's also 3 incoming guards with the freshman class. And given how little play the freshmen get on Kansas State's roster, I doubt we'll really see any of them. But I definitely want to talk about them because, again, you're talking about the future of the team. So you got to go a little bit further even than, just next year, even though next year is, on the forefront of everyone's mind after this season. One is Jordan Spicer. Her accolades speak for herself. She's a damn good player. She's like top 10 ranked, probably one of Mitty's biggest gets ever. Mitty's an awesome recruiter. He's I don't know how he sells the Cats. I would love to see him in the bunkers selling the team, because he always seems to have really good recruiting classes. I believe these incoming 3 guards makes the Cats have like the number 6 recruiting class in the nation. And Jordan Spicer is a testament to that. Again, her accolades just speak to herself. I'll just throw them on screen or something. There's a lot to break down. I believe she's McDonald's All-American. Okay, I looked it up because I want to get it right. So yeah, she was nominated to be a McDonald's All-American. She was also selected for the Nike Hoop Summit, which not many players at all get nominated for that. I think the total is literally 11. And yeah, she's on it. She's very good. She might see the floor actually next year, depending on how the rest of the team shakes up. She's very good at basketball. I'm excited to see her play. And she's only one of 3 players who are coming on board. The other is Ania Foy. She's another guard. All 3 of these new players coming in are guards. Foy is someone I need to get more familiar with. But she comes in with, I'm just going to read off the sheet here because I don't want to get it wrong. She's checks in at 41st in the nation. That's according to prospectsnation.com. On 3 has her, or excuse me, not on 3, 24/7 has her as the 52nd in the nation. But she's the number 4 prospect in Texas. So we're getting a little Texas action on the squad next year. I'm excited to see her play. Again, she's a guard coming in. I don't think she'll see the floor next year, but probably in the years up and coming, we'll get to see her play. And then the third one that's just interesting from like a novelty perspective. Again, I apologize. I don't know a whole lot of Gina Garcia Safont from Barcelona. She's from Barcelona, which, if you don't know, we already have one gal hailing from Spain on the team in Sanchez. Yeah, and once you know, Safont played for Segel XX1 Barcelona. You might XXI, maybe it's 21. But what you need to know is it's the same club that Sanchez played for when she was in Spain before she came to the US to play basketball. So from a novelty standpoint, it's really cool. From a leadership standpoint, and again, this isn't necessarily family ties. I don't think they're from the same family. They're just from the same team. But, that's kind of the same family, if depending on your outlook on that stuff. And I think for K-State, same team is usually same family correlation. So I feel like in a way this is keeping the family ties, and I'm excited to see her play. If she gets to see the floor, which, not sure how that will shake up with the depth that we have on the roster next year. So if you're interested in learning more about this signing class, I'll put a link in the description below. So if you guys want to go check it out, but that's going to be all for today. I talked for way longer than I expected. I have a headache. The lights are just killing me. So we're going to get out of here while I want to get out of here. So thank you all very much for watching. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk about the men here soon because even though they're on a downturn right now with this three-game skid, there's still things to talk about. So we're going to talk about them. But thank you all very much for watching this video. I appreciate y'all. Guys, want to consider liking, subscribing. Actually, I don't care about likes. I don't think likes do anything for the algorithm. But if you guys want to subscribe so you can always check out these videos, that would be great. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. It's getting warmer out. Very good news. All right, go outside. Peace.